Sori.
And we're about to listen to some Behemoth.
This is our third one, right?
It's our third one. This one is called Blow Your Trumpets Gabriel.
This one will be different though because we have been encouraged to watch the music video with it, which I think is the plan to, hopefully try to offend us more. I think that's people's goal. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So we're going to be watching the music video and looking at the lyrics double time, so we'll see. Just a word to our sponsors. So you're getting a couple Christian commenters saying, you guys aren't real Christian. How can you be Christian? You're listening to...
I'm warning you.
Yeah, I'm warning you. You're listening to, what was the other band? With the Holy War song.
Or...
Thy Art is Murder. Thy Art is Murder.
Okay.
What type of Christian listens to Thy Art is Murder? Don't you know that they hate God? You're listening to Behemoth. Don't you know that they hate God? How do I say this? Well, I'll let you go.
I mean, I would just say we've had more opportunities to talk to people than we have, all the time that we were doing many other things.
I mean, imagine that when you actually sit down and listen to people.
With an open mind.
They want to actually talk to you.
Yeah, and some stuff that people say off the bat sounds super offensive, but then once you ask them a question or two, you find out that they're in a bad spot.
Going through a rough time in life.
Yeah, but you're just gonna, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. How many Satanists have you talked to?
Exactly.
Like,
I've done that.
Not like talked at, but like actually talked to, like made an actual human connection.
Right.
Look, here's the thing. We didn't go into this we didn't say we're gonna set up YouTube things and we're gonna convert people.
No.
Like our goal is not to convert people.
We were just looking for something to do together that would be fun.
Yeah, and then we did Cradle of Filth, and then people said, well, then do Behemoth.
Mm-hmm.
But what I will say is that it has given me the opportunity to listen and talk to people and engage with people that have a completely different view of the world than I do. Mm-hmm. And then in doing so, I find a ton of similarities, though, at the same time.
Right. Yep.
So there's that passage in I think it's Matthew, where Jesus curses out the religious leaders and then says, you'll cross land and sea to make a single convert, but then you make him twice the son of hell as you are. Mm-hmm. So when I think about the whole black metal scene, especially in Norway, that's literally what happened. Where you went over there, you imposed quote-unquote Christianity on them, and then they said, oh yeah? Well then we're gonna swing to the other side and roll with the devil. So now and I'm never gonna separate myself from Christianity, we basically created this entire genre, wow, if you think about it.
Yeah. And
then we want to turn around and judge these people. It's like, I don't know. I think our time on earth is short, and the more human beings we can come in contact and love unconditionally, no matter what people believe, no matter what they say. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the goal is to just love a person unconditionally, and you can't love people unless you know them. So we want to know these people, which is why we want to talk to you, Nergal.
Yes. Visit the village.
If you're a Christian and you're concerned about us, pray for us. I mean, look, I was kind of tongue-in-cheek about people warning us or being upset that we're listening to this stuff. But if you really feel like genuinely as a Christian that there's a danger in hearing these people out and hearing what they have to say, then yeah, I mean, pray for us. We can always use that. But at the same time, I think that, and the other side of it is like appreciating their art is another mm-hmm. thing that people are upset at. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. If the metal is metal, then
right.
What are we supposed to do?
The lyrics are poetic. We're going to say it.
Yeah, and I think, from our perspective of the world, they got those gifts from God. So yep. When they're putting together a good rhythm sequence for the metal, that's something that God gave them. And, shockingly, I think God is proud of that. Now, am I happy that they're singing to the devil with the gifts that God gave them? Obviously not. Right? But, I don't know. If you know anything about the devil in the Bible, he's not presented as this like big scary, you know, he's presented as a deceiver. This stuff is more like in your face, and it's not really the devil's real work. The devil's real work is more like in a church choir than you'd find in like a Behemoth song. Because there's no deception in the Behemoth song. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty cut and dry. You know what I mean? Like, the devil's main, you know, Jesus says when the devil...
I wouldn't say none of his work is there. I would just say some of his best work is in the choir. Because it's deceptive.
Yeah, like what I mean, like when the devil's like being the devil, like on 10.
Yeah.
It's not like, "Blah!" You know what I mean? Like it's deceptive. It's subtle. You wouldn't know that it's the devil.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And with this stuff, like you immediately go, shit, that's the devil. That fucking guy looks like Mephisto or whatever the guy's name. You know what I mean? Like you're not gonna, you know, there's not a lot of deception with Behemoth and these other bands. Which I think if they knew their Bibles better, that they would, if they were really trying to emulate the devil, that they would be a lot more deceptive in how they presented themselves.
I mean, I think I get like, you know, some of the, once in a while, you know, we get some comments that are pretty rough in the comment section, and I'm just kind of like,
from the devil people?
Yeah. I'll be like, oh, okay. And then I'll read it to Vin, and then we come up with something, we message back or whatever. But the comments that get me, honestly, the most frustrated are the ones from, you know, religious people when they're bringing their judgments and their warnings and stuff like that. I think you handle it better than I do, because I'm like, listen, on the other side, like, is that person, like, are you engaging, you're talking to other people and having these conversations and listening, and has your closed-mindedness helped you to be able to actually reach people and talk to people? Because I was on that side. I was the closed-minded, judgmental person that that couldn't really get a hearing from people, and I couldn't even really get help myself. So I don't want to be like that, and I don't appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, but those are our people. So, you know, we're gonna roll with them. We're not gonna throw you under the bus. It's just, you know, like this is, you know, and like I said, if your main goal is to always like try to convert people, then I could see, you know, why. But I mean, that's not our main goal. And I think, you know... No,
because if your main goal is to convert people...
You can't hear what they have to say.
You have to hear what they have to say, even to be able to... You know, how do you even know what to say to somebody if you don't listen to the experiences that they've had?
I don't know. We don't come from that perspective, but they do.
No, I did come from that perspective.
Whoa, hey, we're the same team, man. We're on the same team. All right. We're talking too much. Anyway, so we appreciate you. We love you. Love you unconditionally. We love the Satanists unconditionally. We love the atheists unconditionally. All I'm saying is that, you know, if you feel, you know, and obviously, you know, if you're worried about the Behemoth guys, pray for them. We definitely pray for them for sure. And we're pretty unapologetic about our faith. Everybody knows that we're Christians. We believe in Jesus. We believe the Bible. We believe that's the best, healthiest way to live in this world and the next. We believe all of that. I'm pretty sure that we've said that. We also know that not everybody has had the same experience that we've had. So there you go. All right. So this is Blow Your Trumpets Gabriel.
Yeah.
By the big homies in Behemoth.
Yep.
And so we're going to watch the video and then we're going to watch the lyrics. So here we go.
Okay, yeah, Blow Your Trumpet, Gabriel. I just want to make sure that we definitely had that correct.
Is it Blow Your Trumpet or Trumpets? I think it's Trumpets. All right, we're good. Somebody tell us what this signal or the symbol is at the beginning. It's a triangle and a flame and then 3 swords. And then a bunch of light.
Can you pull the lyrics up?
Yep.
I had a hard time understanding it, and it was like going from screen to screen. I was missing the picture when I was very interesting music video. It's a lot to take in. Okay, what do you want to do? You want to start from the beginning?
Well,
I don't feel shocked or anything because I really didn't understand a lot of it. I mean, some of the visuals would just, I mean,
so there's this girl in the field.
the blood in the mouth made me feel a little bit nauseated, but.
Well, you know what they were doing with the blood in the mouth.
Well, I think it was like communion. It looked like it was like a Satan's version of communion.
Well, it's sort of so transubstantiation
Yep.
is the doctrine that when the priests, and Poland was very Catholic. So when the priest says the words of consecration, that the wafer becomes the body of Christ, and then the wine becomes literally the blood of Christ.
That's what they believe, yes.
Yeah, so like a lot of people, even Catholics, misunderstand this. They did a Pew poll like about 10 years ago. It was pretty famous, and it had a section of like 10 true or false statements.
Yeah.
And that they asked Catholics, and they said true or false, the bread and the wine symbolize the body and blood of Christ, and the Catholics said true.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, that's not true from a Roman Catholic perspective. It actually, the technical language that they use is it becomes the body, blood, soul, and divinity of our Lord Jesus Christ. Is the terminology in the Catholic Catechism, I believe. So it's sort of like, it's this really crazy picture, like that they're making this girl and they're stuffing blood in her mouth.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I think the message is, well, that's what you're saying is happening every Mass.
Yep. Yeah.
So if it looks gross, then you can't blame us.
Right.
For this.
Right.
Which brings out the bigger question of ritual. And there was a guy that was carrying an animal, carrying a lamb, and then there was another guy, he had a pig.
It was a pig.
And so that was interesting. And then there was the wolf.
Yep.
That was like, to me, I think is probably.
Did you see the spikes that came out of her back? They ended up turning into what looked like was the crown of thorns was made out of. Became this thorny.
Yeah, it seems like they took this girl, this innocent girl that was in a field somewhere, and then they turned her into this demon.
Well, I don't feel like it. To me, I didn't get that they did that. It to me was she went there in search. Like, I don't think that she was just hopping through the field and they grabbed her and pulled her in. I think she went in there.
Really? She was in the field and then she ran into those 3 priests. Ugly, demonic priests, basically. You didn't see that in the video?
No, to me...
At the very beginning, she's running.
Yeah, I can get it. To me, it seemed like, she's running, but is she... Does it...
See, there's the Eye of Horus there.
Yeah.
At the side of the building.
She's running, but how did she get there in the first place? See, then she comes over there.
Yeah, she's in the field.
Yeah, and then... Things are coming. She keeps looking behind her. What the heck is she looking at?
Oh, she's running from something. And then she's probably running away from the wolf. Is probably what it is.
But then she sees them.
And she sees them.
Yeah. But, most...
Come to me, my child.
Most would run away from it, but she goes to... Wait a minute, no. They're in the field, and she goes inside that building.
Yeah, that citadel type
and
thing.
And then inside there's somebody else in there that's not part of... No, that's that same guy.
No, I think it's them. I think they were saying go into this building for refuge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's taking refuge in them, but then they turn her into a demon. They cut off all her hair, they made her drink that blood or whatever, and then by the end she's blowing the trumpet. But by that time she looks like a straight up demon at that point.
Right. Now, what do you think these female characters were that were like?
Well, one of them, the really beautiful one was Astarte. It looks like the. Keep going. There are a couple female Canaanite deities that are like that one, the one with that picture right there, that one right there. Yeah, it looks like Astarte. Astarte was a Canaanite deity that the Israelites worshipped a ton, and they get criticized a bunch for worshiping Astarte.
What was she? What was her story?
Ashtaroth. Well, I mean, she's just a feminine deity, and there's a lot of sex attached to her ritual and all the rest of it. But what's interesting is that you take this innocent, beautiful girl, she's running away from this wolf, and then she runs into these priests who then take her into this church for refuge, but then they turn her into a demon.
Yes.
Which is interesting because that was the very thing that I said at the prologue, where, you missionaries turn these people into twice the son of hell, right?
Yeah.
So it seems like, the girl would have been better off. The moral of the story was the girl would have been better off by herself before she ran into those priests. The priest turned her into a demon and turned her into basically a mouthpiece of their demonic cult or whatever. Go ahead.
I don't know. I just
You didn't get that out of the video?
No, I didn't get that out of that video.
Well, what did you get out of it?
I don't know, like, you know how, like, when you're kind of at that age of, like she looks very innocent, she's just running, she's wearing white, but she's running from something, but she doesn't, to me, look like she really knows where she's going. But she's running, if you notice, see there's the trees and stuff in the background, and now she's in an open field, and she keeps looking back to those trees. Well, when it scans in, you see that there's a wolf in the woods, and there's also this random guy that got this lamb.
Yeah.
And I don't know who he is or what he's doing. It never, to me, I don't understand that even from watching the whole video. But, like, maybe there was something there, like, but that guy's got his own rituals that she's, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then she's running, and then I almost think it's like I remember I hit a certain point in my faith where I started, like, I was a teenager, and I remember I started questioning things, and then I started saying, well, wait a minute, how do I even know that I have the right religion? Do I just have this religion because my parents do? And then I remember going on, like, a search, and it had to be a search by myself because I couldn't really say, hey, I don't know because you couldn't really question at that level. So I could question, but it was like, I think that it shook my family's faith, and so I didn't want to make them uncomfortable. It wasn't like I was silenced or locked in some room or anything. So I just kind of went on this journey myself, and I remember, like, just, like, pulling up to different religious places and wanting to find answers there, but honestly, nobody was open to really, like, what I would do, it's really weird, but I would just drive up and I would just wait in my car. And I'd be like, God, if there's somebody here that you want me to talk to, let them come to my car. And nobody ever came to my car. And then there was one place where I, like, drove up to the people and started talking to them, but their thoughts were so, like, to me, didn't make any sense that I just, whatever. But, so anyway, I'm making a huge long story out of this. So I don't know if she's in search of something which makes her open to, even though, having this, blood poured in her mouth and stuff seems a bit extreme, she was searching for something, and she's trying to escape something, so it makes her more open to something else, which I guess would kind of go to your point, like, if there was, if the church was kind of forcing people and stuff, and
they stripped her naked and chopped off her hair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So she was in they took her, basically, all her beauty away from her.
Yes.
And then made her blow this, trumpet or whatever.
Yes.
So, what I'm saying is that, like, it seems to me, she's running from my opinion is she's running from this wolf. Right? Because the wolf is sort of like this sort of...
No, I could throw in with you there.
Almost like omnipotent character in the story. And he's chasing her, she runs, she's looking behind her, and then she runs into these three priests.
Yeah.
Who then give her the basic rites of, you get the body, blood, or whatever, the communion, and then they chop her hair off, they turn her into this, like, hideous monster, and now she's now an angel, but she's really a demon, you know what I mean? And they transformed her into, she went from this scared, innocent girl into this demonic sort of thing. But hey, she's blowing the trumpet, so she's in the church now. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the point of the video, right?
I'm still not convinced, but maybe let's go over the lyrics or something. Well, I'm so confused with everything. Like, everything seems so, but I don't even know I missed so much of the lyrics because I was watching the video.
Yeah, this is gonna be a very, very long review because, I mean, the same girl at the end is the same girl that was in the.
I know. The one running in the field is the same one at the end blowing the trumpet.
Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think the point of that imagery is? Like, how did she become this? Like, do you agree that she was at least like a hideous, ugly
Yes.
not very beautiful thing to look at.
Yes.
Very demonic looking. Like you wouldn't look at that and go, "Oh, that's a beautiful angel." You'd say that's a demon.
Right. Yeah.
Well, how did she go from being this beautiful, lost,
she took
innocent
part in
girl?
their tradition. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I was saying was that, once she started to interface with this cult, she then became this ugly thing and lost all of her beauty and her
Why
innocence.
would they want to put a video out like that then? Like, doesn't that make it look like don't join our thing or else you're going to lose all your beauty and...
No, I think the irony is, especially if you look back at the historical context from last week, the irony was all of Norway was that girl. She was an innocent, maybe a little bit confused,
Okay,
and then
so
they
the
ran.
three priests
Then they
is
ran into the Catholic
religious...
Church.
So those three priests, you're saying those don't represent some satanic whatever. You're saying that those represent the.
Well, yes and no. I think the point of the video is to say that the Catholic Church is a satanic institution. See what I'm saying? Like they're basically saying, you want to call us devils, you guys are the devils. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, that's very interesting.
So
yeah, you could be right.
Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to look at that and go, oh
Why
shit,
the pig?
Satanism is terrible. Because the pig, remember Antiochus Epiphanes?
Yes.
And during the intertestamental period, he went into the Jewish temple.
Slaughtered a pig
and
in
he
there.
slaughtered a pig on the altar.
Right.
And then he made the priests eat it.
Ugh.
So like the sacrificing a pig is the ultimate form of blasphemy because a pig was an unclean animal. Right? The pig, the swine was like the most unclean animal.
Did that pig look like it had a more than just a pig body, or was that just me?
What's interesting is that
Doesn't.
no, it looks like a pig to me.
Oh yeah, its legs are just stretched.
What's
out.
interesting is that is a church, right?
Yep.
So the pig is inside the church. The lamb is never in the church.
Yeah.
So the lamb is actually outside the church.
Yeah.
But the lamb ends up rotting and dying, and the only animal that ends up surviving is the wolf. I think there's a message there, right? Like, so the pig stands for, look, this is the what's happening inside the church is not a holy thing; it's a blasphemous thing, right?
Yeah.
And then the lambs are outside the church. Like the real lambs, the real followers of Christ are outside of the church. They're not in the church.
Well, when you think of Nergal, is that his? This is his people, right?
Yeah.
When you think of him,
I'm pretty sure he came up with the he seems to be the mastermind of this.
Yeah.
Thing. Talk to me, Nergal.
I know. Talk to us.
I command thee.
So you know how he reads a lot of the scriptures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So now I can't remember what I was gonna say because you had to.
The sheep was out. The sheep was outside the sheep was outside the church. He died outside of the church. Basically.
Yeah, maybe he feels like that.
Yeah, I think. Well,
you know what I mean, like. Sheep are portrayed. You've got the sheep and you've got the goats, and the sheep are the followers of Christ, and the goats are the ones that don't follow. And if he kind of feels like he's a sheep, but he's outside the church, and he's kind of like, you know what I'm saying, like because he's journeying, but he looks like something. He looks like something completely other than that. But because of stuff like this, it would be easy to categorize him outside of that. But I think to me, when the different things that I've heard, a few of the things that I've heard him speaking, he sounds like he is on some sort of a search or some sort of a journey, and. Leave maybe expressions of that.
If he was, I don't think he'd ever admit it. But
he said some stuff.
Well, yeah, he says he reads the Bible for inspiration,
and he said that he would never want there to be like basically no
yes,
God.
the guy said, "Would you want Christianity to not exist?" And Nergal said, "I hope not, because where would I?" He said, "Then what?"
No, that's what I'm saying.
Well, what he was saying was, "Where would I get my inspiration from music?" But I think that's bullshit. I think that he wants. I don't know, Nergal. We're gonna have to talk, big guy. No, you know what? You know which animal I think Nergal would think that he is in this story?
The wolf?
Would be the wolf. Because all the other animals were being sacrificed. So the pig was being sacrificed and the sheep was going to be sacrificed.
What is the wolf doing?
The wolf is basically in control. Like he's the only. First of all, he's the only being in the story that's by himself.
Yep.
Okay, which goes with the whole Crowley, do what you will, sort of, you're your own boss. I mean, look at him. He's by himself. He's away from the pack, which wolves generally, it's not a good situation. Right. They're usually pack animals, but this guy, he's such a bad motherfucker that he's by himself, right? Mm-hmm. And then the pig even though it's a blasphemous creature, which kind of goes along with Satanism, it's being sacrificed. The sheep is so weak it can't even look. It's got to be carried.
Right.
It's not a powerful, and it's outside of the church, right? So the wolf he's by himself. He goes where he wants. He doesn't follow the pack. And the girl at the beginning was probably running from him. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like the wolf is the only one that's like by himself, self-willed, kind of representative of the Satanism that Nergal wants to embody.
Okay. Well, what do you think about when he's squeezing her head and her eyes and the blood's coming out?
Well, he's transforming her into their image.
Yeah.
And he basically took her eyes out, which basically
he blinded her.
He blinded her. People blinded by religion. Making people see only what you want them to see.
Wow.
Which is part of the reason that people are kind of upset at us, right? Because we're you shouldn't be looking at that, or you shouldn't be seeing whatever. And so like religion kind of has that blinding effect on people. Because a lot of people's faith isn't strong enough to look at the real world.
Right.
And I said, I don't know the people criticizing us, so I can't say that about them. I'm not talking about you specifically if you're criticizing. What I'm saying is, religion itself creates a sort of institutionalized blindness.
Yeah. No, I know. I agree. I agree with that.
There's almost like it almost becomes a virtue.
Yep.
Like to be blind to the world and you only know I only know the Bible. I don't know any of this other stuff.
No, I know.
Whereas Paul, my second favorite person in the Bible, like he knew Greek literature. He was able to, at Parmenides, I think he quoted off the top of his head in Acts 17 or something like that. Like off the top of his head, and he was able to interact with people.
Is that the we eat and breathe and have our being?
Yeah, in him we live and move and have our being. He's talking about Zeus.
Yeah.
Parmenides wrote this beautiful story about Zeus, and there's this line that says, "In him we live and move and have our being," and Paul quotes that. Oh, you're talking about a false god and blah 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 blah. Like you're supposed to be able to, but so they blinded her. They took her eyes out, because like you can't,
Wow.
and
Okay.
God forbid you learn the faith of your ancestors and all the rest of it. So they basically stripped her naked and blinded her, and turned her into, this kind of like blind demon that's now blowing the trumpet of their religion now. And I think that that's a story of Christianity in Poland and Norway and a lot of these,
Wow.
And it's crazy because we hadn't seen the video, but we talked about you're making people twice as
Yes, I
as
know.
you are.
Yep.
Right? So like they kind of looked like they were scary, but they're like in robes and stuff. There was sort of like this regality about them, but she was stripped naked, her hair was all crazy.
Yeah.
So she was more of a demon than they were.
Yep.
Which is exactly what what we talked about. So but this is the thing, like we created this type of art, and then when these guys are expressing their anger and their pain,
we will listen.
We won't listen. This shows that you're a demon and that you need whatever. Okay, so that's the video.
Okay, well then that's part 1, and then we will come out with part 2, which will be the analysis of the lyrics.
The traditional Vin and Sori lyrical breakdown. We just felt like we needed to dedicate some time to the video, so that's coming out soon.
Sori out.
Gone.